When it comes to giving feedback to my students, there are always two things that I keep in mind. Number one, I want to minimize or remove the sense of competition between students. Testing, giving grades, and giving feedback, it is always about ensuring that the student wants to improve for the sake of their own improvement, their own academic improvement, their own personal improvement. It is not about making sure that, is that student worried about doing better than their classmates? Is that student worried about doing better or worse than the person next to them? It is less about wondering how their grades will affect the standing in the class on a social level, and more so how their grades affect how they are developing academically and personally. Another factor that I consider when giving feedback is how can I use this feedback to create a rapport between myself and my students. So my favorite technique for giving students feedback that A, minimizes the risk of competition, and two, encourages a sort of maybe more one-on-one interaction with me or the student in question is I organize an activity beforehand, a fun, creative, low-stakes activity. Maybe it's arts and crafts of some kind. Maybe it's a creative writing exercise, something where the students can be creatively invested in another activity that is taking their focus, their energy, and more importantly, their creative or academic spirits, instead of having them focusing on, their grades, how they're doing. And one by one, I will be calling my students to an area just outside of the classroom. I'll be sitting outside with the grades, with the feedback, and one by one, I'll call them out, and I will take that opportunity to discuss that feedback with them individually. I will let them ask questions if they have any questions. In fact, I will encourage them to ask questions. I do not want any of my students to ever come away from a feedback session feeling unheard, feeling invalidated, or feeling like, they're not good enough to be in my class. So if they need that encouragement, if they didn't do as well as they thought they would, they need that encouragement, I will absolutely take that moment to comfort them if they need that comfort. I will take that moment to congratulate them if they need that extra cheering, that extra support. Those are the two factors I look for when it comes to giving feedback: minimizing competition and teacher-student rapport.